What's up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of Fowl Ball Talk on all things Baltimore sports, brought to you by Great Eights Memorabilia in Parkville, Maryland. I'm the host, Matt Trigger. With me is my co-host, Tim. It has been a couple weeks, buddy. We have both been very busy in our personal lives, but we are finally back on air after a little bit of a longer hiatus than you or I both liked.
We are back. And we're a
New
500 team
setup.
since we've been going. Oh, yeah, a little bit of a new setup. We got some stuff done, new desk, broke some the bobbles out from this year. Nice little new setup going on. But
I like it. It's very Ravens or Orioles oriented. I like it. You got the nice setup going on, and you look
ready to
very
rock.
professional. Yes, very ready to rock. And it's like you just alluded to, since the last time that we have been on air, brother, we have been a 500 baseball team. We have gone 8-8 in the series against the Houston Astros, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the lowly Colorado Rockies, and the even lower Chicago White Sox. And to round it off, we lost the series to the Tampa Bay Rays today. That was a mouthful. Where do we begin?
Well, I think out of where we just left it, Houston, Dodgers, Colorado, Chicago, Tampa Bay. When we talked, we knew Houston, we knew the Dodgers were going to be two big series. And then, the general consensus between you and I and everybody else involved was, Colorado, we got them. White Sox, worst team in baseball, no problem. Tampa Bay, take two. Well, we took 2 of 3 from Colorado. We took 2 of 3 from Chicago. Should have been a sweep. And one of the games where we actually put up all of our runs, we were gifted some favors thanks to the White Sox and their abysmal defensive skills. And then we lost to Corbin Burns' game today where he let up 2 runs, which is, that's your solid start from Corbin, is his usual 2 that he lets rip in the first inning or 2. Like always, that's his track record. And offense doesn't show up. They put a 0 for up. And then yesterday, offense doesn't show up. They put up 1 run. We lose 7-1. And Zach Eflin had his first game as an Oriole where, seemed to struggle a little bit. So all in all, we're a 500 team. It looks like we're going to make the playoffs, but not a lot of excitement, not a lot of offense, a lot of big what happens when we get there.
Not to deviate too far off track, but let's talk about Corbin Burns. He had a historically bad August, and then he seems to have kind of gotten out of his funk in his first start in September. And lo and behold, we give him no run support. So I'm looking at it in the grand scheme of things. There's a lot wrong with this Orioles team, and the fact that we are still approaching 90 wins is amazing. Nothing short of amazing at this point. But I am starting to see this writing on the wall. Corbin Burns it's going to take a lot of money to keep him here.
It is.
To convince this guy to stay here long term, knowing he is getting no run support. And we've been talking about this for months now. Months. And it is actually feels like we're playing a broken record when we talk about Corbin Burns. He is not getting any run support. I think the most run support he got was opening day when we put up 11.
Yep, and he put up how many strikeouts? I forget.
I think he had 13 strikeouts that day.
Yeah, it was like 13 strikeouts or something like that. But that was the most run support that he saw. And in the back of his head, he's like, dang, this is the offense I'm going to be able to pitch in front of every day. Yeah, that was short-lived. I don't have an answer for the lack of offense. I will say here, let me just tell you this. So somebody on this team since the All-Star break is 28 for 139. 28 for 139. And they just brought their average back over 200. Their average is 201 right now. Where do you think somebody that's batting 28 for 139 with an average just over 200 would appear in a lineup? What order?
He's batting in the 2-hole.
He's batting in the 2-hole, Matt.
Batting in the 2-hole. The guy is not hitting his body weight. And it is absolutely astounding. I'm so glad that we are leading in away from Burns into this, because after Corbin Burns, the biggest worry on this baseball team right now is Adley Rutschman.
I would have to agree there.
I
I'm
don't know
concerned.
if this guy I don't know if he's playing hurt. I don't know if his personal life has just completely wrecked his psyche. It could be a combination of both, but there's no reason Adley Rutschman is still hitting number 2 on almost a nightly on a nightly basis. There's no need for him. He should be batting like 8 right now. I'm starting right now to really prepare myself mentally for a shitty October of Orioles baseball. It's crazy that we went through the month of June, from the end of May to the beginning of July, where we had those 4 days off, and we were a buzzsaw against that gauntlet. And here we are 2 months later, and we're barely hanging on. And the injuries haven't really gotten much worse than they were then. Westberg hurts, but Westberg is if you put Westberg in this lineup, we might win 1 or 2 more games, maybe.
So and that's the thing is your people are like, we got reinforcements. I understand we do have some reinforcements. I'm not denying that at all. But to expect Westberg, who is coming back from literally a fractured hand and hasn't thrown a baseball with a fractured hand in over a month, and expecting him to A, jump out on the field and look normal, B, grip onto a bat and hit 100-mile-an-hour baseballs when he hasn't used his hand in a month, seems a little far-fetched for me. Now, I know he can probably come back and give some much-needed break days. That's another issue that I have going on right now. Gunnar Henderson hasn't missed a game, hasn't missed a start since the All-Star break, yet, we're out here resting Jackson Holiday. I mean, I don't know. What the answer is for offense. We're one of the only team. I think that I looked it up the other day. It's like 3 or 4 other teams, but we're one of 3 or 4 teams that have 2 batting coaches that are evenly ranked. Like there's not one batting coach. We have 2, and I'm not sure what's going on there. I know that they deactivated their Twitters, so they're taking some heat from the Orioles fan base, but there's not much to look at offensively on this team right now. I did right before we jumped on.
Do you blame this fan base?
No, I mean, I don't think you can.
You can't have a social media page where you advertise who you are and what you do, and you have arguably one of the best young cores in baseball, and you are putting out a below average offensive production on a nightly basis. Your home runs come in droves and then they go silent. There's no small ball on this team. We are home run or bust.
And thank God for Tony Taters.
Yeah. So yeah, you better be able to take the heat, because the last 2 years, this franchise has set an expectation. We sat through 6 years of bullshit. 100 lost seasons, the COVID shortened year. We were trotting out 4A players every night. No matter what we did, we were seeing garbage on the field. No matter where you looked, garbage in the outfield, garbage in the infield, garbage in the pitching rotation, garbage in the bullpen. Now you win 83 games 2 years ago, and you win 101 last year. You and now we're getting this. We're gonna have at least a 10 to 12 loss reduction from the previous year. I know we had a lot of injuries, and I know all that, Tim. But don't advertise that you're an Orioles hitting coach and Adley Rutschman is hitting 200 for the last 2 months, 3 months.
It's okay. So we're talking about the hitting coaches, but also whose shot is it that needs to make a change up, a switch to get down those hitting coaches' throats and say what are we doing here? We got to change something. Like obviously those guys are trying to do their job. Something has to bend, something has to change, something has to break. I don't know if you
It's
saw
the
it.
guy that it's the guy that won't be managing the Orioles after the season.
That's what I was leading to. So I actually took a screenshot of this because I knew I would get a very smart answer from you, a smart ass answer from you on this, and I would like to hear it. This is coming from Andy Koska of the Baltimore Banner. Asked Brandon Hyde whether there comes a point offensively where more drastic changes to the lineup or days off are required to get players' heads right. Brandon Hyde's response, quote, I think I've done all of those things, end quote. You have
Yeah.
Adley Rutschman batting in the 2-hole still.
And Gunnar Henderson has missed 1 day since the All-Star break. And meanwhile, you're resting your second baseman that's 20 years old. I'm not a genius, but your 20-year-old second baseman probably doesn't need a night off.
No. And how about that you have a guy named, I know that he's questionable at defense, questionable, defensively right now, but he's just riding the pine, not getting playing time. Mayo's played how many games? He's getting the Kjerstad effect times 2.
Yes, he is. I truly don't. I truly think they don't know what to do with Mayo.
I wouldn't. Here's something I thought about the other day. If you're going to have him come up and ride the pine the way he is right now, when you know his bat is absolutely insane, his bat is amazing, it is what it is, you're looking for a spot for him to play on this field, on this team. Personally, I think that answers first base.
I agree.
If I was a manager, jokingly, obviously, those guys are way more intelligent, have way more analytics, and I have no point other than talking about it on my podcast with you. I wouldn't have Mayo, who I know I would need to find a spot for and possibly learn a new position, rotting away getting one at bat a week on the Orioles bench. Send him to fall ball down in Arizona right now and put him at first base. Let him go play some fall ball, start the process early so he shows up to spring training next year, already repped in at first base, and he has a shot to fight for the spot because of his offense against Ryan Mountcastle.
I want to know what they're doing because we know Kobe Mayo isn't going to be on the postseason roster unless Mountcastle is hurt that long. I think we're seeing things a lot more clear now in the beginning of September. We're a week into September now, and I'm pretty sure O'Hearn isn't here next year.
And
I think the magical, ride with O'Hearn is just about over. Mountcastle, I'm not surprised if he's not here next year. I like Mountcastle. Don't get me wrong. And Tony Taters is playing himself out of our price range.
He is. It's 3 months ago I was like, Tony's playing himself into a contract with the Orioles. Yay. And now I'm like, Tony Taters is playing him outside of a contract with the Orioles. Oh no.
Right. And that is the absolute God's honest truth to the matter. You're now staring down the barrel of the fact that you might lose a 40 home run guy. And there's a very good chance he stays in the division, especially if Juan Soto doesn't get re-signed in New York.
Which that's what I was just getting ready to say. Orioles fans need to watch that situation closely because Tony fits the bill for what those Yankees like to do. And if Juan Soto, even though personally I think he's going back out west.
Oh, yeah, he's going to California. He's going back out to Cali, or he's going to go to Seattle.
The Yankees will throw X millions of dollars in his face to have those 40 home runs.
And I wanted to talk about what Zach just said. He doesn't think his interest is going to be extremely high. It's not about the amount of teams that are going to want Santander. It's going to be the type of teams that want Santander. And if Soto goes back out west, you can get Santander for pennies on the dollar to hit arguably just as many home runs, if not more, especially in that short porch in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Because I believe they have a shorter porch in right field than we do.
They do.
So, yes. I know it's still the end of the season. I know we're still in the midst of September baseball. But a lot of these things need to be, thought about. And it's going to be a rough October for us, but it's going to be an even more rough November when free agency starts. End of November, early December with the winter meetings and all these things going on. It's going to be rough, and they need to understand. Our fan base is not going to be ready for what's about to happen.
No, I agree. That's exactly what Pigtown Sports just said. I don't need a Chris Davis situation where the Orioles set the price themselves too high. Let someone else set the bar and match it. Yeah, and I think that this offseason is going to be really telling because last offseason, new ownership hadn't taken over yet.
Correct.
We are in new ownership mode. It's going to tell a lot. Part of me likes to believe that with the new ownership came new minds and new ideas, that there's people that we don't know about that are getting involved. But it comes back to Mike Elias and his computer program Sigma-Dell, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Everything's number based now. Who they're going to offer things to, who they're going to, fill this hole with. Part of the reason we see these lineups the way we do is because they have said, and they've gone out and told everybody, fans, the league, we are an analytics-based ball team. Our decisions in the front of the office and the back of the office are going to be based on analytics.
So I'm gonna say this, and it's not going to be from a place of malice. It's more of a place of frustration. All that sounds like to me is that they're feeding us Oakland A's bullshit that they fed their fan base 20 years ago when they started small ball and they started the analytical approach to the game with a team full of superstars is the only difference. Now, I will say this. The whole shtick of the splash zone and having Cal out there and him sitting behind home plate, him being, present as the face of the Orioles as part of the ownership group. I'm straight up not having a good time, bro.
Not having a good time. No.
I'm straight up not having a good time. So don't sit there and say that this is a fun team to be around when in the last 2 weeks we've won 8 games and lost 8 games, and we're looking at the possibility of not even winning 95 games this year.
That's correct. It's funny that you said you're not having fun. I was talking with a buddy, also big Orioles fan, and the 80-plus game win season 2 seasons ago when we weren't supposed to do it might have been the most fun I've ever had as an Orioles fan. And then last year was just like it was so much fun because it was like, holy crap, we're actually good. We're here. And then this year was like, okay, we showed everybody we're here. We made it into the playoffs. We got swept, but give us some time. Give us some time. That was our, first trip with this new team. We're here, baby. Just look out for us next year. So the buildup and the anticipation for this season, and it has just not been fun. We're still a good baseball team. And I was getting ready to play devil's advocate a little bit here with you. Kind of flip the script because I know we're all doom and gloom.
But we have every reason to be.
Right. And we're talking about how we feel, but I have something to run by you. So this was actually in our group chat with UI and Pigtown Sports earlier today, but also to add on to it, the average runs per game in baseball, because we're complaining about this offense right now. We're saying it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. Average runs per game in baseball is 4.5. The Orioles average 4.97 per game. The Orioles have also scored the second highest amount of runs since the All-Star break. All right? If we're scored the second highest amount of runs, we're staying a 500 team.
Our pitching sucks.
Right. Huh. How are we losing?
Our bullpen. Our pitching and our bullpen.
Now,
yeah.
This is what I was saying with this is, okay, so say we're putting up we're creating this idea that the offense is abysmal, non-existent, whatever, but then those numbers come back and say that it still exists. You throw this team in the playoffs right now with their average offense, above average offense, second most runs in the league. Right now, off the top of your head, Matt, what is your 5-man rotation in this playoffs? And of those 5, give me the wins and losses during those games.
I don't know if I want to.
Think about it. I thought about it and I was like, yikes. We can't win a Burns game to save our life, it seems like, over the last month.
Nope.
So you put him at your number 1, you're still taking an L.
And you're probably going to have to trot out Grayson Rodriguez, who hasn't been on a mound in months.
You better hope that that's one of the games where the offense puts up 7, 13, 9. I mean, over that, there was a 4-game stretch with Colorado and Chicago. In those 4 games, we scored 7 runs, 6 runs, 13 runs, 9 runs.
And then you're looking at Eflin.
Yep.
Kramer, Suarez. God, I got indigestion. Jesus.
And Suarez just had his first shaky game in a little while.
Shaky? He got shelled.
He did.
Let's not sugarcoat, buddy. He didn't make it out of the 5th inning.
No.
He got absolutely torched.
And I think because of how great he has been for this team and been able to plug so many different holes and just step up and find out he's a starter 10 minutes before a game and go be a closer out of the bullpen and then go pitch a 6-7 inning, long relief and then come back to starting. And then I just think that Orioles fans took it for granted a little bit. And I wouldn't say I ever doubted the guy, but I had that thought like he's going to get run into one of these games. And early in this, early in the season, him going deep past 5 innings was kind of like, he would start to get hit around a little bit in the middle of that 5th inning. And then he went on his miraculous stretch. And I think we just, there's a reason that nobody knew Albert Suarez, that he didn't exist.
Correct.
Now his run,
absolutely,
I'm not taking anything away from the run that he's had with us, but everybody comes back to earth at some point.
Yeah. You would think that you want us to be one of those teams where we're kind of stuck in space like the NASA folks, but we're coming back down with nothing like the spacecraft. You know what I'm saying? it's bad. I'm looking at our schedule right now, Tim, and we haven't really even talked about a lot of the players other than Burns and Adley and to a degree Jackson and Gunnar. But I'm looking at the schedule right now for the remainder of the regular season. You got Boston, for 3. You got Detroit for 3. You got San Francisco for 3. You got Detroit for 3 again. You got your final Yankee series of the year. And then you round out the regular season against the Minnesota Twins, who are a hot team.
2 scenarios I see here, Matt. That New York series is going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah. It's in New York? Yeah.
We have been flip-flopping 1 game up, 1 game down, half game back, 1 game up, half game down. Back and forth with them for 3 months now. The issue is that it doesn't happen to be the last series of the year.
Correct. You still got to go through Minnesota, who can be a buzzsaw.
We come out of that Yankee series in the same situation where we are right now, right?
Right.
Our 3 defining games are going to be against a hot team.
And, Boston's kind of fallen back down to earth as well. I'm not – but you got to take 2 or 3 from Boston. You got to win the Boston series. You got to kind of drive a stake through the heart of the Tigers.
It's really weird that we have Tigers at Tigers, then we go to San Francisco.
No, they come here. San Francisco comes here.
We're at Tigers, then San Francisco comes here, then Tigers come back here. That is so bizarre.
And then we're in New York, and then we're at home for the final series of the year with the Minnesota Twins. You've literally got to go 2 for 3 in the rest of these series to have a chance. If you lose a series on the rest of the way, it's trouble. I don't like our chances as a wild card team. We got to win the division.
We are walking a fine line.
A very fine line.
Some people will say that last year they were like, the Orioles can't be that team that has that bye week. We can't have the bye week. We can't have the bye week.
We need that. We need that.
Right now it appears we need that bye week.
We were hot and got the bye week and got cold. We are cold and we are limping, and we need to get that rest. We need that week off. I don't care what. But
what do you?
I'll say this, Tim. I'm sorry. You can finish.
No, I was gonna say where do you see us if we're the wild card team and we have to play hot, straight through, no breaks?
We're done. It's over. I don't care who you try out there to start. It's over.
3 game
These
series.
Guys need a mental. It's over. I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I'm being a realist. Tell me what team right now do you feel confident that the Orioles can go a 3-game series after the brutal second half of year of baseball they've had and win?
The White Sox.
We couldn't even sweep the White Sox or the Rockies, who are the 2 worst teams in baseball.
Yeah, scary, huh?
I'm pretty sure Norfolk could beat the White Sox in a 3-game series.
It's scary out there right now.
It's getting real scary.
Let's see. You can go on. I'm just curious as to where we would fall if the season ended right now. What team we would be playing?
I don't have confidence that we could go from that 1 week break is imperative at this point. There's nothing that we can do or say that will make the majority of this fan base think otherwise. We were a 101 win team last year, and we were hot going into the postseason. Then we had that week lull.
And then we played the Rangers,
who were just a team of destiny. We saw how that, played out. So I'm not confident against any of the AL West teams.
Definitely not.
I'm not confident against the Yankees. I'm not confident against the Twins. I'm not too confident against the Guardians either.
Nope. Certainly not. I just want to see. I have a feeling it. I mean, we could be getting a preview with the last series of the regular season. Let me take a look at it here.
And while you're looking that up, another thing I want to mention now is the trade deadline is now a month in the rearview mirror. Realistically speaking, there wasn't a single trade or single player that could have came in here and saved what has gone on.
Nope, not at all.
Hindsight fully being 2020, I don't know where any of these potential players would have made that much of a difference. Because if we can't produce runs for Burns, I don't hold out hope that we're going to produce runs for Skubal.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think we're producing runs for anybody right now.
We're not, because we're not.
Right.
And then there's no closer or reliever in baseball right now that single-handedly saves what has gone on with this Orioles pitching staff.
That's for sure.
So it's a double-edged sword. But a month post trade deadline, I don't know if Skubal matters at all. I don't know if Garrett Crochet matters at all. I don't know if Tommy Pham or Luis Robert. I don't know if they change anything.
I don't think they do either. And I think Eflin was a steal at the deadline, honestly, because I think we grabbed him before the market got corrupt when it comes to starting pitching. Norby hit 2 home runs today. I don't know if you saw that. So
I did, and I just
that was Trevor Rogers.
Who's in Norfolk.
Yeah, I guess their belief is that they acquired him to work on him and that he'll be here next year.
And you sacrificed a really good infielder.
Yep. It stands right now, the 3 spot plays the 6 spot, right?
Yes.
So if we lost the division, we would obviously be the 3 spot, just based off of our record. And no, we wouldn't. 3 spot would be Cleveland. I'm sorry, we would be this 4 spot. So the 4 spot plays
5.
Plays 5, which means that right now, oh God, I don't even like that. You're not going to like that. The 4 spot right now is the Kansas City Royals.
Oh,
the 5 spot.
Oh yeah. We're done.
Yep.
They hung with us earlier in the year.
And then it would be the Astros versus the Mariners.
I don't like that at all.
Yep, it would be Astros, Mariners, Cleveland would be in, Yankees obviously, and Kansas City. We would play Kansas City. Cleveland would play. Cleveland would have the 2nd seed. Astros would be 3, so they'd be playing 6, which would be the Mariners. Yep. Holy crap.
Yep.
With 18 games of ball left, Matt.
With 18 games left?
18 games left.
You have to go 12-6 or better.
Yeah, I mean, we can't be a 500 team.
You got to go 12-6 the rest of the way out.
We've been a 500 team since the All-Star break. Every time we come back from our 4 or 5 series break, Matt, we're like, oh, let's check what the Orioles record was during our little break. When I say break, I mean a week or 2 between shows. We come back every time and we're like, oh, we went 500 again.
Let's take a look at what Mark just said.
Mr. Mark.
Late September, October, the team's full. That's little Mark. Yeah. You called a 32-year-old Mister, by the way. I'm just like,
everybody's Mister to me.
Okay. I digress. The team's full: Mountie, Westberg, Coulomb, Webb. They're missing Westberg's bat. We talked about that earlier in the show. Um, they need to cut down on leaving that many people on base. It's a killer. We have been talking about this for what seems like 2 seasons now.
Runners in scoring position is something that gets me running very hot. I have plenty of memes. If you follow me on Twitter, if you're listening to the show, you've probably seen a lot of my runners in scoring position memes. It is something that has been, I don't even know what the word would be. It's like a dark, gloomy cloud that follows this Orioles team around and has all year long. And for whatever reason, we like to strike. This is just to add into the runners in scoring position. We like to have the first and second batter of an inning strike out or get out, and then have someone step up to the plate and hit a double or a triple with 2 outs.
And knowing that could have been a 2-run double or a 2-run triple, it just
all of our hits coming with 2 outs on the board. And then you expect the next guy to come up and, 2 outs, guys on second. Oh, there you go. Runners in scoring position. You didn't get him in.
Correct.
And what does that stem from, Matt? Having somebody that is batting 201 and is 25 for 100 and whatever. I don't even know the number. I'm not looking it up again. Since the All-Star break, still batting in the 2-hole.
Yep, good old Adley. He just started hitting above 200 this week since the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
That is Cedric Mullins' level of pathetic.
It is. It is. I averaged it out. I should have written it down, but his average stretch right now for that 25 or whatever it is and 100 and some at bats since the All-Star break, that's actually worse than Jackson Holliday's spread when all of Orioles and Birdland fans were screaming, send him down, off with his head.
Thoughts on small ball? Bunting those guys over, putting them in motion more. We need to do all the above. We do. We've talked about that for months now. And this team, we said it earlier, Tim, this team lives and dies by the long ball. They don't have any semblance of small ball in them. I don't even think they have the proper guys for small ball.
That's why I was excited about the Slater trade, because that showed a glimmer of hope for a second.
Yeah, it showed a glimmer of hope. What's up, Joe? But you got half this lineup that doesn't deserve to be in a major league lineup every single night. And then the other half of the lineup wants to hit the ball 500 feet every time they swing the bat.
Mm-hmm.
That is an approach issue. And who has control over their approach at the plate? It is the hitting coaches, and it is the manager. So what we started off in the beginning of the show, we're circling all the way back around to again. Is we have a guy sitting on this bench every night that is watching this ball club and is not thinking that there's something drastically wrong. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And that is where Brandon Hyde is at right now.
I don't understand why not even trying to just make a change with the small ball tactics. I mean, Cedric Mullins can bunt. I think Mateo going down was a real big downer, but that's not it can't be an excuse. You can't rely on, one guy on your team to get around the bases like that. Gunnar and Cowser are both absolutely fast as all hell. Slater, I got excited for because he came up. We threw him in that leadoff spot, and he laid down. He had a couple good singles, and then he laid down a really beautiful bunt. Got to first. That inning looked great. He actually ended up coming home that inning. I was like, okay, this is what we're not up there swinging for 500 feet. And the last 2 weeks, I don't know. You have guys on like Shohei Ohtani has 46 stolen bases right now. He also has 46 home runs. He might go 50-50, which would be absolutely insane. But if you look around the league, the stolen bases number, especially with the pitch clock, and then you look at the Orioles stolen bases numbers, and it's just like, what? Are they being told not to go? Are they being given the decision on their own and not taking it? You could go watch a Little League game. All it is stealing bases.
Yep.
It's small ball.
Well, that's where you learn it.
Right.
You know, there's not 15 kids that are hitting home runs in 12 under travel. You know what I'm saying? But this, I just put up a bunch of comments to touch on what Mark said. You rely on Gunnar and Santander's power. KC sweeps us. The starting pitchers have to be frustrated. Of course they are. You can visibly see how much more agitated Corbin Burns has been over the last 2 months.
Oh, for sure.
It's on his face when he's in the dugout. Whether he's pitching or not, you can see the frustration on the guy's face. I don't think I've seen him crack a smile since the All-Star break.
Nope. He came out of the clubhouse to yell from the dugout.
Yep. The thing is, he's one of only 3 guys that give a shit on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
The youth of this team is starting to really shine through, and it's not in a good way. The talent and the athleticism is out of this world. But September baseball is serious. You've been here twice now. You got to the playoffs in 2022. You had the number 1 overall seed in 2023. Now you're fighting for your life for the division. A year later.
Yep.
It's time to grow up. It's time to grow up, and it's time to start correcting some of these mistakes.
Yeah, and Mark's comment that you just put up there just got my brain thinking a little bit.
My apologies, we didn't make the playoffs in 22. We won 83. My bad. That's a foresight. I was a little hot.
Joe's the man. But my comment to Mark about his what he got my brain thinking about was I was just complaining about stolen bases and playing small ball. And then I was talking 10 minutes ago about how the fact the Orioles don't seem to get anyone on base unless there's 2 outs, which would explain why we're not stealing bases because we're not getting anyone on base with 2 outs. Correct. Unless there's 2 outs. So I don't know. I'm getting really sick of seeing guys fall to their knees swinging for 500 feet. Adley, something just isn't right there, and I don't know if it starts with the hitting coach, if it's above the hitting coach, if it's these guys are young, or should I say coaches. A quarter of the way, halfway through the season, Hyde's post-game pressers seemed all right. Now his post-game pressers, as Joe alluded to, are straight up laughable. Being asked, if he thinks he needs to make changes, Hyde's response was, I feel like I've already done that. And he gets questioned in these interviews after the game and challenged, and he almost is starting to come back at it combatively, which is wild to me. Yeah.
Let's just go back to the root of the problem. We have a manager that isn't suited for this type of situation. I am going to get a lot of off-putting comments, a little bit of hate. I've thought about it in the last couple of weeks since we've last been on air, Tim. We're wasting prime years with a manager that isn't cut out for this kind of work. And I hate to say it, but he has let these guys turn the clubhouse into being a player's manager is cool and all, but it can't be a frat house type of atmosphere.
What do you mean? You can't have a golden tea tournament before every game?
No, you can't. When you're fighting for the division, you need to be about your business. I understand wanting to have fun and wanting to let loose. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But you can't tell me that there isn't a culture issue if we finish this last stretch at 500 and we're now the 5 or the 6 seed. And we got to go and play a 3-game series in Houston or in Kansas City or in Minnesota. And we get swept and drop the first 2 straight. Hyde should have his shit packed and out the door before the media can even wake up for work the next morning.
I agree. And there's a lot of teams that it could be. The Twins, like you just said, they're only 2.5 games back from Kansas City right now. So they're fighting for a spot. The Rangers are only 3 games back from the Mariners with that last spot. So we're looking at Rangers on the cusp, Twins on the cusp. So our probables, it's going to be anyone between the Royals, the Twins, the Rangers, and the Mariners.
The Mariners are a damn good baseball team.
They are.
A surging Rangers team worries me. And like I said, the Twins are hot and the Royals are still playing good baseball. On the other hand, we are not. We're not. We are not playing good baseball. We've gone 500 since our last show. We already broke down all the series we got coming up. You got Detroit twice. You got the Giants coming up. You got the Yankees and the Twins and the Red Sox. Like this,
Matt, if we were playing in a 3-game wild card series, if we were playing in a 3-game wild card series right now, we just lost to the Tampa Bay Rays with Corbin Burns on the mound for Game 3.
Exactly. I'm telling you right now, I might be in the minority on this situation. If this season ends up crashing and burning the way it has, and it could potentially go, it's doom and gloom. I get it. I don't care about the amount of injuries that Brandon Hyde has had to navigate through. He is not the first manager to do so, and he won't be the last.
I'm going to send him an email and tell him you said that.
I don't give a shit. He needs to be canned, and you need to go get somebody that can handle this clubhouse and rein them in. There's too many fundamental mistakes. There's too many illogical approaches at the plate. There's no sense of small ball, moving the runners over, any of that. There's no sense of urgency to get on base, advance on base, and drive runs in the old-fashioned way with base hits, doubles, however you want to put it. We have guys that are trying to hit the ball into Utah Street and get a plaque out there with their name on it.
Yep.
I love Taters. I love Gunner. But this is not sustainable long term to win.
If we have been all doom and gloom, I know that. One bright spot, which I wanted to mention, which I haven't yet, is Gunner seems to have turned the leaf a little bit. Where we were 3 weeks ago, I would say. He was in the same boat as super concerned with like Adley is right now for me. But I would say the last 5 or 6 games he has he's been back to doing his thing. I'd like to see him steal more bases, but
in the same breath though, Gunner has shown all year long that he has hot streaks and he has cold streaks. So this is par for the course.
Yep.
So now is this going to last, or are we going to get into the Giants series and Gunner's 1 for 11. That's realistic. To touch on what Joe just said, if Hyde goes, give me Rossi. I don't know who steps in. I don't know who you go and get.
I know who you've brought up a bunch.
Who's that?
Buck Britton.
Oh, yeah. If you want to go in-house, absolutely. Buck Britton, because he knows all these guys. He had all these guys when they were at the top of their games in that moment. If you're going to go outside the organization, I'm not going to be one of these fans that's like, oh, let's give it to Adam Jones or let's give it to Nick Markakis or no. You got to get that shit out of here. No. I would like Girardi here. No nonsense.
I don't know if I wouldn't say I don't like it, but I don't think I would see it.
I don't see it either, but I'm not saying I can see it. I'm saying I would like it.
I saw somebody mention Dusty Baker.
What are you going to do? Put Grandpa with the college kids? No, we're not doing that. No,
that's what I said, and they were trying to connect it because of the Mike Elias and Houston connection.
I like Joe Madden.
Interesting. We got double Joe Madden comments back to back.
Yep. I like Joe Madden. I think Madden could come in here and get plenty out of this team because he doesn't take shit from anybody.
Yeah, I like Joe Madden. I do.
Look, I'm just putting some of this stuff out in the atmosphere because our next couple of shows are either going to be very, very much on the up and up, or it's going to be more doom and gloom. And I can't sit through another Orioles season with Hyde if he can't get this shit together. You got to be accountable for what's going on the field. It's in the same vein as the other coach in Baltimore right now, who had me pissed off all of Thursday night. I'm not even going to go there because the show will be an hour and 55 minutes. He's got to be held accountable for what is going on right now.
He does. But none of this matters, Matt, because we're going to go into the playoffs as the 4 spot, and we're just going to tear through it.
I will offer a verbal apology on this show, and I will say I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just laughing at Joe's comment. Coach horrible, yeah. Right now, yeah. I don't trust this team to put up runs in the fashion that you need to in the postseason. I don't have that faith in them.
We haven't been able to put up runs to pull away from the Yankees for 5 months.
And Zach made a very good point in the comments. Gunner struggles in the clutch.
He does. Our clutch guy has a broken hand.
Yeah, our clutch guy has a broken hand. And then Joe made an even better comment. He said, waiting on Mountcastle and Westberg to come back and think that they're immediately going to hit, is insane.
It is. And it drives me nuts when I see people posting, reinforcements are coming. The guy has not used, his hand's been in a cast for a month.
Yep.
And the other guy's been dizzy for 2 years.
And when it comes to the pitching aspect of the reinforcements, Coulombe and Webb are coming off of arm injuries to their throwing arms.
Mm-hmm.
Coulombe had bone spurs removed from his elbow. You know what that means? One wrong pitch, and then, we're not going to see Coulombe until 2026.
Yep, and he just went to Norfolk to throw a session. Pigtown Sports brought us that news.
Yes.
But I don't know. It's hard to. I would like to remain positive and be like, hey, this is all a genius ploy. We've been trying to stay right there with the Yankees so we don't fall too far out of it. But we're a half game back, so we get into that 4 seed. We don't have an off break, and we take a run. And I would love to believe that.
Yeah, and we would all love to believe that we're going to hit the Mega Millions one day. But this comment right here, JD Davis is still in Norfolk, and we keep on trotting out this Soto guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see an Oriole wearing a Soto ever again unless it's Juan. Never again in my lifetime do I want to see a Soto on the back of an Orioles jersey. Ever in my life. Never again. Never again.
But the thing is like you got Livian Soto on the bench, who's supposed to be your speed guy, and how many stolen bases has he had for the Orioles?
I don't think he's had one.
I don't even know.
Yeah. And I want to throw this out there.
I miss Jorge.
I'm gonna lose my shit if I see on that little bright orange ticker on my phone that says the Orioles have recalled Taron Vavra from Norfolk. I'm going to lose my mind. He just got cut from whoever, and we picked him back up on a minor league deal again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I'm surprised McKenna's not down there again.
I never want to see McKenna again. He might be a great dude, but no. McKenna's like almost 30. Let's give it up, guy.
Yep. Yeah, Joe, no, I know. I meant like he hasn't been used as in a late situation as like a pinch runner or anything to go get a bag. That's what's driving me nuts. He's just sitting on the bench. Mateo, we would at least see put in as a pinch runner. Not this year, so to say, but last year and the year before, Mateo and Mullins would, if they weren't in the game, they were thrown in there as pinch runner late in the game, and they'd go get the bag. They go take second, and it was a normal, frequent occurrence. This year, it's not. So,
to round out the show, I know we've haven't really talked a lot of positive about the Orioles. Right now, as the AL East stands, the Yankees are a half game ahead of us in first place, 82 and 61. We're 82 and 62. They're 4 and 6 on their last 10. We're 5 and 5 on our last 10. The Red Sox are 3 and 7, so they're quickly falling and fading away. They're probably done. They have a 10-game hole to crawl out of for the AL East, and there's 20 games to go. So things need to be catastrophically horrible for them to win the East. If the Orioles go 12 and 6 in their last 18 games of baseball, that puts us at 94 and 69. That could be good enough to win the division, but I know we'll be back before the end of the season. We might have a show or two before the end of the year, the regular season. With what's coming down the line with the next two series, we start with the Red Sox tomorrow night, I believe.
There's the Joe with the Ripken show comment. I knew it was coming. The Orioles are fine.
McKenna's in Philly. Okay, he opted out. Either way, he's not on the damn team. I like this guy, Joe. He's full of knowledge.
My dog keeps freaking out because we're yelling Adley's name because we're pissed off at Adley, and she is also Adley, so she thinks she's been doing bad things. Might have to change her name.
That makes sense. Oh, I saw the Ripken show comment that O's are fine. No, they're not. No, they are not. No, they are not. And I want to ask him because he's not going to be on an Orioles syndicated radio station. He's coming on our show either this coming week or next week. So we're going to have a chance to hear him give his logic to this whole situation. The O's are not fine. And as Zach just pointed out, Detroit's the second best. They're like the best team in the second half.
Hold on. I have my probables pulled up. Are we going to hit Scooble during that?
I don't even care at this point.
They don't have them.
I don't even. Yeah, I think that series is what, a week out, if not farther?
Friday, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah. Friday the 13th. Yep. Yep. So
That'll be the Skubal game.
Yeah, that'll be the Skubal game.
And that's against Eflin, most likely.
Seems fitting. So, looking at the schedule and the break in the next couple of series, we are against the Red Sox and the Tigers. We could probably be back on air, Tim, next Monday.
I was gonna say we have next Monday and then the following Monday as well.
We could do Sunday after the daytime Detroit series. But the Ravens are probably going to piss me off that day, so I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I definitely think we should do a status update of where we're at with everyone before we head into that New York Yankees series.
Absolutely. So we'll be back, either next Sunday or Monday. And then after the Giants and the Tigers series, it'll probably be the Monday after that. You're right.
Yep.
So we might be having some early week shows to round out the regular season here. And after the Yankees and the Twins, we'll probably have 3 more shows before the end of the baseball season. And hopefully we're talking about how we're going to have a nice little break before the start of the postseason. Or we're going to be talking about how this team just completely fell apart.
Yeah, and the thing is that if we're talking about the team falling apart, we're going to be saying that they have been falling apart.
Well, yeah, I'm laying the foundation for that right now. So yeah, there's that. But that'll do it for this week's episode of Foul Ball Talk. And Tim, I know that you love being a menace on your Twitter timeline.
I do.
And on Facebook. So let everybody know where they can find you if they don't already know.
You can find me right there, bottom of your screen, T_Malarkey. It has been a rather deflating last couple of weeks. Maybe the Orioles will change that for me, and when we join on a Monday night, I'll be very happy and excited to talk baseball and share about how we're going to be making a push into the final season. But Matt, real quick, I'll pull it up for you. I do have a guess the Oriole.
You said we weren't doing this.
It's what Oriole gets on base.
I like it. I like it. I like that. That was very well done. I couldn't wait to post that. Yeah, this is a very difficult time right now because watching this, Orioles team just go 500 against, 2 really shitty baseball teams. And then Thursday night, I'm going to just say this. I know that this is a baseball show, and I know your wife absolutely despises the fact that I bring football up on this show. She must be sleeping right now because she hasn't commented a single comment tonight. School must be whooping her ass right now. This is going to be a very long fall if the Orioles crash and burn, and then the Ravens can't get their shit together. I have it constantly playing in my head the first snap Roger Rosengarten played against the Chiefs, and Chris Jones smacked him out of the way before he even got out of his stance. The shit just blows my fucking mind, and I got to get off air before I go on a rant.
That was the strip fumble or fumble loss, right?
Yes, that was the sack fumble.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Joe gets blocked everywhere he goes. Nice hardball,
buddy.
Yeah.
Oh,
and just to add on to the irritation of my sports weekend, J.K. Dobbins ran for 135 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
I On that part, I'm gonna just sign off. Tim, I'll see you next week, buddy. We'll be in the group chat, but this has been a fun episode. So that'll do it for Foul Ball Talk, folks. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Make sure you follow us along on Twitter, and hopefully this is a lot better of a show the next time you guys see us. Joe, Zach, Mark, thank you guys for your engagement as always. We are out.